Alhamdulillah, it's a decent question. Barakallahu feekum. I don't know who wrote it, but it was well prepared. It was typed up. Alhamdulillah. يعني نحسن الظن بالسائل inshallah. We have a good thought about from the question inshallah ta'ala. Now, so the question I asked, and I'll read it here, so nobody says the question was changed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Noble Ustad, may Allah bless you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa barakallahu feekum. Naam, alhamdulillah, I've been on the Salafi da'wah for many years, now continuing to learn by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla with the recommended students of knowledge in the West. When Allah Azza wa Jalla first guiding, it says first guiding me, but when Allah first guided me into the da'wah, our teachers, the likes of yourself and Ustad Abu Khadija and Ustad Abu Hakim, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, clarified that there are no scholars in the West. But on the flyers and in the lectures, we are now calling our teachers, like for example, it doesn't mention that, Abu Hakim for example, or for example, Abu Hassan for example. We are now calling them Shaykh alongside Shaykh Rabi for example. Can you please clarify if this as a Shaykh of knowledge or a Shaykh in age, as the Hizbis use this against us, and how we should respond? I mean, the answer is clear. The answer, to be honest, is I think it's been dealt with. I read something, I think a year or two ago, where it dealt with this shubha, this doubt. The reality, ikhwan, that the word Shaykh doesn't mean alim. Who said that? That Shaykh is equivalent to an alim. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah in Majmu' al-Fatawa, he said, anyone who teaches you about your religion is shaykhuk, is your shaykh. That's kalam Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah alayhi. That's not my speech. So we're talking about individuals that, for example, Shaykh Abu Hakim, Hafidhullah, he's taught maybe you books, Thalathatul Usul, Kitab al-Tawheed, Umdat al-Ahkam, ila akhirihi. So he's not your shaykh? It doesn't mean alim. And that's one wajh. Secondly, thaniyan, every community it's relative to the land you live. For example, in Somaliland, they have individuals, students of knowledge, they call Shaykh. Likewise, maybe in Pakistan, they have individuals that the people they refer to as Shaykh. Likewise, in other countries as well. Even, subhanAllah, some of our masajid, you go, and you have a regular brother, he's never studied anywhere, but alhamdulillah, he leads the salah, he's memorized some of the Quran. They say Shaykh, right? Or they say Wadad, or whatever you call them. Sahih? Naam. It's a form of respect, because the problem is, and like I said, I'll give a detailed answer. Some people, you see, they go to the opposite extreme. Their teacher, who's maybe, subhanAllah, 40, 50, 60, with children, grandchildren, they say, yo, ما في أدب. That's your teacher. Even in school you say, they teach us to say in secular school, sir. You don't say, Jamie, what's up? You don't say none of that. There's a level of respect. Likewise, and this is some of the ulama, the senior scholars. Some of the senior scholars, and again, we're not going to make ilzam upon anyone, but again, let's look. The one who has this objection, who says there's a problem with this, are you more knowledgeable than the senior scholars? Are you more knowledgeable than Shaykh Hassan al-Banna? Rahimahullah ta'ala. Are you more knowledgeable than Shaykh Rabi'? Are you more knowledgeable than these senior scholars? And they refer to some of these teachers as Shaykh. So you have a problem with it, but they don't. Ajib. Ma lakum kayfa tahkumun. And you see the Hizbiyin, they call someone who's nowhere near the level of those individuals. And again, not saying, no, we know that they're not scholars. But you have, for example, when they say Shaykh Yusuf Estes, هذا لا يحسن قراءة القرآن. Shaykh Yusuf Estes or Shaykh Umar Sulaiman, لا يحسن العلم. Or those lesser than them. But they have a problem when we refer to our teachers as Shaykh. And for example, I studied with him, I learned the Arabic language with him. I studied درست يعني كتاب الأول من كتب المدينة, Medina book 1, Medina book 2, Medina book 3, Ajrumiyya. I studied Ajrumiyya, I studied Mutammat al-Ajrumiyya. Seems like I don't know, maybe they wasn't pleased with the answer, they cut us off. Now it's back on, alhamdulillah. Naam. So for example, they taught me Medina book 1, Medina book 2, Medina book 3, Ajurumiyya, Mutammima. They taught me all of these books in Nahw. That's not my Shaykh in Nahw. Again, it doesn't mean they're an alim. We know. Listen, if you're in Saudi Arabia, somebody who graduates from the Jami'ah, he may be, subhanallah, a youth. They put on the flyer. If he teaches in a masjid, they say Shaykh Fulan. That doesn't mean he's nowhere near the level of a Shaykh al-Fawzan. Shattana baynahuma. There's a huge, humongous difference between the two. And like I said, a lot more can be said about that, but that's just a summary. Ikhwan, some people are looking for something. You know, they say they're fishing in murky water. If it's not that, it's going to be something else. And then I come back to the question, heart. Where's this term ustad? Give me some precedents for it. I've seen scholars use even ustad as sheikh. Rather, if we're talking about academia, you know, you have an ustad who is a doctor, he's higher than just a doctor. So where did we say that even this term ustad is something, maybe we shouldn't even use that as well, right? So should we just say yo? Again, ikhwan, it's about understanding. Yes, there was a thing, no doubt. There's no scholars in the West. There's no ulama like Shaykh al-Fawzan, no doubt. There's no scholars like a Shaykh Abdul Muhsin. There's no scholars like a Shaykh Rabi'a. There's no scholars like a Shaykh Abdul Aziz al-Shaykh. There's no scholars that we return to for Nawazil, no doubt. That's obvious. There's no one that we, in many other lands as well, there's no one that is of that caliber and that level. But there are people that teach the people. And in that particular land, that relative land, they are Shaykh. And you know what, subhanAllah, in America, a person said to me, subhanAllah, he said, you guys, he said, you're racist. I said, why is that? Look, even subhanAllah. So, even the Hizbis, they may say, use that against, you know, the brothers. But there's another extreme. Some of the Hizbis, they say, you guys are racist. I said, why do you say we're racist? They say, what? Because, you know, we're not black. Because we're not Arab, we can't be a sheikh. Meaning we have individuals, graduates, master's degrees, some dakatira. Well, they can't be a sheikh because they're not Arab. Again, ikhwan, barakallahu feekum, no one says that. And again, hafidakum Allah, this is a simple issue, it's basit. And yes, previously, some of the brothers, they did have an apprehension to use that term, sheikh, no doubt about it. There's recordings of individuals, there was an apprehension to say it. But why was that? But even that apprehension, I heard a question that was asked to Shaykh Ubaid, the Hizbis use that. Because you have brothers, I think the brother that asked the question, he was from the Maldives. And he said to Shaykh Ubaid, he said, the Hizbis are cunning and conniving. In our land, you know, when somebody graduates, generally they come back to our land and they refer to that person, the graduate, as a sheikh. But we, alhamdulillah, we have an apprehension of using that title for some of the reasons that the questioner alluded to. So they say, the Hizbis look at us and they say, yes, you don't have no sheikhs. We have sheikhs. To belittle the brothers there. Is there anything wrong with using sheikh for graduates from the Islamic University or people that have a master's degree or people who are mutamakkin in ilm? And the sheikh, the meaning is, there's no problem with that. Doesn't mean alim. I'll ask, who said that sheikh means alim? Who? Man qala hadha? Barakallahu feekum. Exactly. And the same people that say that, they most probably utilize it for people of lesser knowledge. It's funny because the one person, you know, I saw like he posted about it. And alhamdulillah, none of the brothers, I don't see any of them referring to themselves as that either. That's another thing. I don't see any of the brothers saying that about themselves, ever. Rather, even sometimes, one of the scholars may mention it about them and they leave it out deliberately. But, naam. So for example, those individuals, the very ones that say, look what they're doing, they call themselves sheikh. SubhanAllah, a brother sent me a post. The guy is teaching in an Ikhwani masjid and it says Shaykh so-and-so. I'm not going to mention his name. So it's okay for him to be a sheikh. And he ma عنده ilm. If you ask him the i'rab to Ja'a Zayd or Muhammad Dhahab, he'd have problems. But again, ikhwan, alhamdulillah, these things are minor, barakallahu feekum. But I said, the ones who raise it, If they don't find a problem with that, they're going to mention something else. Those individuals, alhamdulillah, you clarify and then you just keep moving. You can't busy yourself with every doubt or every person that has an issue. Those who want to come and benefit, alhamdulillah. One thing without a shadow of a doubt, look in the masajid of the sunnah, you have tullab al-ilm. I'm sure here, alhamdulillah, like other places. In our masjid, alhamdulillah, you have brothers, again, they've studied book 1, book 2, book 3. They've never been overseas. They studied Ajrumiyya. Naam, alhamdulillah, they are firm, even in i'rab. They've studied the basics of i'rab. They've learned the Arabic language. Alhamdulillah, you have from them those who have memorized the Quran. You have those, alhamdulillah, who memorized a nice portion of the mutun of ilm. And they've never been overseas. Tullab al-ilm. Barakallahu feekum. So alhamdulillah, these type of environments, yes, no doubt there are people that are qualified, alhamdulillah, teaching the people. And the brothers, the last point, the brothers that we've mentioned, alhamdulillah, what? They still direct people to go to the scholars. You won't find any of them saying, stay here. The Hizbis, they don't want you to study with the ulama because you'll go to the ulama and you'll come back with a different understanding. The brothers say, no, get what you can here, but we want you to go to Medina. We want you to go to Riyadh. We want you to go to al-Qura in Mecca. And you see, alhamdulillah, many of the brothers, their sons, they're in the universities in Medina or in the other universities studying. So again, ikhwan, don't look at qutta' al-tariq. The people that try and cut you off from that which is good. Alhamdulillah, clarify it to them and keep moving. Jazakumullah khair. I hope that it clarified it for the questioner because that was a prepared question. Barakallahu feekum.